Welcome, everybody. So excited for another episode of Impactful Insights. My name is David Wolfscale, leader of C-Suite Impact, and we want to provide you education so that you can help your organizations, your companies thrive. And today I'm so excited. I have Adam Feingertz, a merchant advocate, with us. And one thing that we'll talk about is that merchant services is still really the wild, wild west, very unsupervised by the government, really loose rules, and you can play games when that happens. So Adam's going to give us some insights into the merchant service industry and the impact that his firm can have. So Adam, thank you for coming, and why don't you do an introduction for us?
Thank you, David. Appreciate your time. My name is Adam Feingertz with Merchant Advocate. I've been with Merchant Advocate about 3 years now, and I came from the processing side of the world. So I understand that business very well and able to relate that to our customers and try to help them out with some of their fees.
And we love when people kind of sit on both sides of the desk. You get those unique insights and you have a huge way to impact your clients. So during the intro, I talked about how, this industry is highly unregulated, which you would think it's dealing with money, it would be highly regulated. So why don't you share some of those, hidden issues being in an unregulated industry?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I think it's important to kind of look at it from two perspectives. The first one is from the card brands themselves. So you have MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover. They have a fee that they charge every single time a card is swiped. That's called interchange, which really doesn't make a difference what it is called. Those are set by the card brands. Then on the other side of the fence, you have the processors. Those are the ones that directly work with the businesses to set them up to be able to accept that form of payment, to be able to send the information to the proper banks to get the approvals. That is the side of the business where there are no rules. The processors can determine what their statements look like. They can hide fees. They can make up fees. They can charge fees and actually call them credits. So it truly is the wild, wild west. And most merchants, when they look at their statements, they have no idea what they're looking at. And unfortunately, the industry has kind of grown up with everybody from a person working out of their car to major sales organizations and everybody in between. So there are great folks that are out there, but there's absolutely ones who do what they want to do. And at the end of the day, the merchants get hurt because there's no education. They don't know what they're looking at because it is too confusing.
And now you're not a processor though, right? So, and you're obviously not Discover or MasterCard, right? So tell me kind of what role you play. You're not on this side, you're kind of in between. So why don't you share about that?
Yeah, we sort of sit right in the middle of everything, and we work on behalf of the merchant advocate. So we become their advocate for them. So we are processor agnostic. We just want to make sure that we are providing transparency and putting the merchant in the best spot possible for the fees that they are paying. You have to pay fees in the credit card industry because everybody needs to make their piece of the pie. But are you in the right spot for your business? Are you in the right spot for the size of your business? Are you in the right spot for the type of business you are? A lot of the fees are driven by their type of business, by their merchant codes. In education, we'll pay less than a retail store. And that's also that nature of the business. So we're right in the middle of it all. And we're really trying to educate everybody and uncover all these hidden fees and let people know what's going on.
And so when you talk about hidden fees, I know nothing is similar or the same, but why don't you share some categories of things that you oftentimes see that me as the merchant might not be aware of that I'm getting hit for?
So there's a couple of things. I mentioned those in the interchange fees. So sometimes you will see the interchange fees listed on a statement, and it will say, MasterCard debit or something along those lines, a very confusing type of a card type. And it will say interchange, and that is the true cost. But sometimes you will see the interchange fee increased and padded. So it's truly not interchange, it's interchange with a markup on it. Sometimes you will see one of my favorite ones I've seen on statements, discount credit card fee. That is a made up fee by the processor to increase their profitability. It has nothing at all to do with their profit. Sometimes you'll see a discount fee plus a transaction fee. That's usually where the profitability comes for the processor. I have a client that I work with that is a hotel that once a quarter, the processor has increased their fees. No notification to the client, just, hey, we were here, now we're here, let's move forward.
And so how often, because many buys for us, right? We'll check it once a year, right? See how we're doing. It's not worth looking at every day. Life is busy.
Right.
How often would you recommend people really take a look at their merchant process bills?
They should probably look at it monthly. The challenge becomes most merchants will look at their effective rate. They'll take their fees and divide it by their total revenue. That could be a great indication of where they should be, or it could not be a good indication of where they should be. But that's a good starting point to at least understand where you are. And if you see a major change in that number, that's a red flag to go to talk to somebody. But that's not the true indication of where they should be priced from their business.
And, when we spoke, preparing for this, you also talked about things like zip codes and just people, again, going back to the education, not necessarily the service providers doing anything wrong, but internally, we just don't know how to maximize it. So why don't you share some of those issues that are caused internally by how we do things versus how the processor looks at the world?
Yeah, very good memory, by the way, that you remember that.
Thank you.
Right, so that's what we call the optimization side of the business. And what that really means is, how are you accepting the cards from your customers, and are you accepting them to get the lowest rates possible? So the AVS is just an address verification system. It's a security system put out there by the card brands. So if you accept a lot of card not present, so a lot of cards over the phone, if you don't put in the zip code when you're accepting that card, the card brands think that is a higher risk because you don't physically have the card, and they will charge you more if you don't put in the zip code. But just by putting in that zip code, you will then lower your fees because it's less of a risk. Another one which you talked about is the merchant codes. Most processors decide what type of a merchant code should be set up. But ask your processor how you're set up. I do a lot of business with the martial arts schools. They're set up as gyms. By me setting them up as education, which they are because 90% of what they do is teach, we were able to lower their fees without touching the processor markup. So there's the processor markup, the hidden fees, and then how are you accepting cards that's also impacting your fees and going into that net effective rate? So it's really a totality of the picture that you want to understand and ask questions.
And then, and again, I'm sure there's a continuum, but, I know you have the law of big numbers. You see lots of things. So, what would be a typical savings for a client to see if they educate themselves internally, if they do a good job of checking up on their processor and looking for those hidden fees? What kind of savings might we be looking at?
So from a merchant advocate standpoint, we average our clients between 15 to 20% on their monthly fees we're finding. But keep in mind, we're the experts. We know what we're looking for. We understand these hidden fees. So the regular merchant, 5%, 10%. But I think it's really just about going to the processor and asking questions and saying, can you explain this to me? How is this happening? What is encompassing my fees to start to uncover it? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of folks out there that are set up correctly. And that when we look at and analyze their statements, we can't do anything for them because they're set up correctly and they're paying the right fees overall. So again, there's good folks out there, then there's ones that are not so proper.
And I'm assuming, though, that if somebody works with you, they send you the statements and they're in a good shape, the answer is you're in a good shape and thank you very much and have a beautiful day. And we're going to give you a gold star and, you were awesome. Is that a fair statement?
It's absolutely a fair statement. But even in those cases, it's a huge sigh of relief from the merchant, because if you talk to any business owner that accepting cards, most of them do not like the merchant industry because they understand what it's about. They know there are hidden fees. So most people think that they're not paying the proper fees and they're getting ripped off. So by us just saying you're not, it becomes a sigh of relief for them.
And when it's the wild west, it's hard to know if you're getting ripped off or if you're doing a good job. So
it truly is, especially when the processors don't list all their fees on the statements and they just put a total line number and your total revenue, and that's all you see.
And then let's just shift for a moment as we get ready to wrap up. But, at C-Suite, we do a lot of deals, buy side, sell side, M&A, and we know that whether you are selling a business, if you're selling, every dollar of EBITDA is worth typically a multiple of that dollar of EBITDA. And if you're buying a business, oftentimes you have debt and you're trying to cut costs. And I think Merchant Advocate can help people increase their, enterprise value and also help with that cash flow on no matter what side of the M&A transaction you are. Is that a fair statement as well?
It's absolutely a fair statement. And I talk to people and I say, it's free money to the business and it's found money to the business because we just share in whatever savings we can generate. So it doesn't cost the business anything more to engage with Merchant Advocate. It just becomes a share. So the more we drive in savings, the better off everybody is. And whether you're talking about a small mom and pop pizza store that we can save $100 a month for, which is a huge impact to them, or an enterprise level account with 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 locations that's looking to sell or looking to buy or merge, that EBITDA, you add a couple of dollars to the bottom line, the multiple just increases from there.
Okay. And so, I think if you were working in an industry that Adam, I think, described as the Wild West, maybe that was me, I'm sure. And so, to have a guide by your side as you navigate this, and really a guide that only works on success, is a great thing to have. So, I appreciate those insights, Adam. Why don't you do a commercial for Merchant Advocate and make sure everybody understands that impact you can have on them.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate that again, David. Yeah, so for Merchant Advocate, I'll quickly go through our process so you understand it. First step is we would ask for a few months of your statements just to do a free analysis and understand, is there an opportunity for savings or is there not? Again, we can go back to you and say, you're fine, great job. As David said, gold star, we'll talk to you in 6 months, or there's an opportunity for savings. Then we will go to work on your behalf to work with your existing processor. You don't change, you don't move. We're not looking to flip you to somebody else. We are not a processor. So you stay where you are. Don't have to come out of integration. Once we go through the negotiation, we then go into a monitoring mode where every month we will review your statements, not only to do the savings analysis, but make sure the process is not changing anything. We'll watch your back. And then again, the savings are based on actual numbers that we can drive. So it's December now. We're in the process of analyzing our November statements. So it really is as simple as that. It doesn't cost the business anything. It's a no-brainer. And we're there with you for the life of your business. If you want us there, watching your back and making sure that you're okay. I tell all my clients, you're an expert in your business. I don't pretend to be an expert in your business. Focus on that. Let us worry about the credit card side and let us worry about your merchant services and make sure we're putting you in the best spot. So if you like that free analysis, please reach out to us. You can find me on LinkedIn. All my contact information is there and we can take care of you.
And look, whether you're looking to sell, whether you just bought something, or quite frankly, if you want to put more money in your pocket instead of the processor's pocket, right?
Yeah,
It's all the same
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
Maybe buy some end of year or holiday gifts. All those are opportunities.
Absolutely.
So Adam, thank you so much for sharing some information with our audience, and for everybody out there, thank you for spending some time with us. We're about educating people so that you can thrive in your business. This is David Wolfscale and Adam Feingertz of Merchant Advocate. Go crush your day, and thank you very much.
Thanks, David. I appreciate your time.